Hello everyone, welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing an essay today. So, the rubric or the prompt says, some people think that men and women have different qualities. Therefore, some certain jobs are suitable for men and some jobs are suitable for women. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So, one thing to note is that the question wants our opinion. So it's very important that we are clear in expressing our own opinion. So that matters most. That is one main idea that IELTS would like you to address and cover. Now, it depends how you cover, how you address it for a higher score. But at this point, it's very important that you clearly express your own opinion. I cannot express this or emphasize this enough. Let's continue. It's been argued that a person's occupation, there's a comma here, it's not necessary, heavily hinges on their gender since it places a vital role in their proficiency and capability. Because of their biological differences, again, that comma is not necessary. Because creates complex sentences. For complex sentences, the flow of information is very important. So in many cases, you don't need a comma, especially when your complex making word, like because, like if, provided that, they, or although, they are in the middle of the sentence. Biological differences between males and females. Both words, male and female, are countable words. So when we cannot use them alone like this. We need to, when we generalize, we need to also use the plural form of these two. Although some believe that anyone is equal and there is no difference between men and women, that's exactly the point. You see, both words, both man and woman, are countable words. So when we generalize, we use the plural form, men and women. I uphold the standpoint that, good word, that some special professions are suitable for a specific gender. Very good. I like this introduction because the writer's opinion is clear. It's right there. I don't have to read between the lines or assume what the writer's opinion is. Right in the at the end of the introduction or the introductory paragraph, you can see the writer's opinion. That helps me analyze and understand the entire essay very well. First body paragraph. There are numerous people who justify their opinion that any type of job can be done by both men and women. Very good. So now the writer is taking us to the opposite side to understand where this idea comes from. I like this approach. They believe that these classifications, again, another unnecessary comma, here, this one is not needed. Yeah, this one, stem from the poor acceptance of women in society in previous decades. And still many, I need a comma here because the subject changes. Still many label some specific jobs, because of some, job is countable, female dominated because of their old beliefs, which are, beliefs are, or rather which do not belong to today's modern world. So, or you can say which are not part of today's modern agenda or discourse. You know, just to use a variety of words in your essay. They believe that each person can obtain the qualities for any occupation, I like that, and be prepared for them. For example, being a babysitter, all one word, that's very good. That shows some knowledge of vocabulary here. So this is good. Or a pilot is no longer restricted to a specific sex type. There is an example. We can use examples to add to our range of vocabulary. So it's very important that you use examples, not just because it helps the flow of information. It's a breather. Instead of saying a lot of giving the reader a ton of explanation, you at some points you just stop and give them one or two examples just to prove the point. And those also act as minor sentences. Not all that. I'm specifically saying examples are very good ways for us to add variety to our vocabulary, because we can come up with examples like babysitter here, for instance, or pilot. We show to the examiner that, hey, we know these words. Look, I know who a pilot is. I know who a carpenter is, for instance. I know babysitter, and it's all one word. So these things are very important for us. Like instances where you can shine and show the vocabulary range that you have. Second body paragraph. However, like it is undeniable that a woman's nature is different in some aspects with a man's. With a man's, not yeah. Another vocabulary mistake. I still, as a reader, understand the point, so the conversation or the message is not lost here. But that's an error still. A woman's stamina, good, and endurance, very good, are usually weaker than a man's. See, that's correct. This means that for some specific jobs which require high physical strength, generally men can have a better function. So in this paragraph, we are talking about the writer's opinion, that he believes there are some instances where gender matters, and there are examples here. I actually like that. And this is a larger paragraph if you compare it with the previous one. It means it has a lot more to say. Take miners as a clear example. These people should work in such risky circumstances and should have been ready. That's a complex grammar, but that's not, that's an advanced grammatical point, but that's not what we should use here. Maybe ought to be ready to carry heavy loads of materials. That is a better one. Because should have been ready means they weren't ready, and we're sad. We regret to inform you that they weren't ready and something disastrous happened. We don't want that. That meaning is not necessary here. This grammar has no room here. This is an error that now is affecting my understanding of the message. So this is something we need to be careful about. Heavy loads of materials, which is undoubtedly not a preferable job title for women. Additionally, there are some other jobs that can be done better by females. I like it. For instance, when people think of a nurse, capitalization has no, IELTS doesn't care about capitalization, let's just say it like this. So you don't get any extra scores or any fewer scores because you use a capital letter here. So that doesn't mean much. They do think of a woman. They do think of a woman. Oh yeah, they do think of a woman. Okay, they definitely think of a woman. This derives subject-verb agreement, that that they shouldn't disagree. In this case, they disagree. So this derives from the fact that women are more sensitive than men by their human nature. This is an error called comma splice. We're dividing two sentences by a comma, which is two independent sentences by a comma. That's not correct. We need a semicolon here. There's a lesson regarding that. I'll put it in the description below. They're more capable to help people in need in a good manner. Okay, I like that. I really like this body paragraph. Does the agenda in this paragraph was to say that there are some specific jobs for men and some specific jobs for women, and these are the reasons. I liked it. There were instances, there were examples, and the paragraph was clearly divided into two parts talking about males and females. I mean, in conclusion, while still many believe that gender marking in any kind of job title is a mistake, that this comma is, again, not necessary, I strongly accept that for some special professions, a person's gender should be taken into account. The conclusion is good. It's just one sentence that is not good. We should not have one sentence paragraphs. This is a conclusion, and we're talking about an essay. So I would strongly suggest that we go ahead and write one more sentence. But bear in mind, we are not allowed to write new information in the conclusion. Remember, it's called conclusion. It should be the conclusion or the concluding paragraph of everything you have mentioned so far. So it must not have or bear any new information. But you can still say some sentences like, yeah, there are some people who still believe in that, and there are in some instances that we can modify it between men and women. You can still say some vague sentences which are still related to the topic, and you have mentioned them before in the aforementioned paragraphs. And at the same time, you don't add any new information. It's 327 words. Now let's see how it was scored. So it deserves a 7, rightfully. You can see that the writer focused on his or her idea, opinion, but at the same time, it created the writer created a connection between the opposing side to his side. That is not easy. That's hard. You have to say the opposite side, and then to some extent, either you disqualify it or you add that to your agenda so that their opinion somehow helps you in conveying your message and your opinion. That requires skill. That's why this one gets an 8. And that is difficult. So if you just focus on your own idea and you support your own idea, that is still fine. So don't worry about this. This is just another method of getting a higher score. It is difficult, but if you do it well, you get 8, for instance, or maybe 9 helps you get a higher score in your task response. So either 8, 9 in that regard. Coherence and cohesion, again, I really understood the logic of the essay. I understood the introduction, the conclusion, the body paragraphs were arranged correctly. The sequences of events were arranged not in detail. That's why it's not an 8 here. So I could see the logic, but to get a higher score, you definitely need to make it sequential. And that's maybe a topic for another session. Vocabulary was well written. There were instances of errors, but the errors did not affect the reader's understanding. So it's a 7. And as for grammatical range and accuracy, yes, there were errors. There were many errors. Like the majority of the errors were grammar related, and they, in rare cases, the errors affected the reader's understanding. And that's why it gets a 6, but overall, it's a very, very good essay, and I really enjoyed reading it. Anyway, that's it for me today. Remember, your letters, essays, and reports are your representatives, so make sure they do their jobs well, and I wish you a lovely day ahead.